As a player engages in hundreds of quest retries when manually farming for materials or when auto-farming, it is easy to gather a lot of junk in the field, making our inventories turn into a living hell, particularly when you accumulated a lot of unwanted sigils and materials after days of grinding. This can waste a lot of time and even make you sick, especially when you are building characters, since you will be scrolling in a sea of sigils that you don't even need if left unchecked. I am the Samurai, and this is rather different guide to what I used to make, and I will be sharing my time saving tips and practices on how I deal with Granblue Fantasy Relink's item hell, so you can avoid the hassle and apply it to your daily routine and focus on the more important things. To start things off, let's start with my item flushing process that works and which I have been using lately. Believe me, I went through hell since I didn't pay attention to managing my resources, leading me to hours of headache, and I figured out I don't want this happening to you, so I made this guide. With that out of the way, to start the actual process, let's tackle a specific scenario. For example, you've already accumulated 3k sigils and your inventory is full. Now moving on to the step-by-step guide, and this will give you a clear idea how the process works. Now for step 1, lock all your favorite sigils per each sigil type. Types are attack, defense, support, and so on. You know the drill. Use the filter system effectively. For example, set it to attack type so you can only see your attack type sigils, then start locking the sigils that you need. After locking all of the attack type sigils that you need, do this for the rest of the other types. I will be explaining later on why we need to do this, and this is an essential step to do to make this process work. Take this as a warning and make sure to lock all of your best sigils if you don't want them gone at the end of the day, especially war elementals, damage caps, supplementary damage, and so on. Now for step 2, we are readying to flush all of our unwanted sigils or materials. To do so, head to CRO and select knick-knack vouchers. Then trade sigils or treasures, but for this example, let's do sigils. When you access your current sigils, access the filter menu on the first tab and set the sigils to not locked. Now that is out of the way, time for step 3. Next, go to the second tab and set the sort feature in the second tab to order acquired, and for order, newest first. I will be diving into this in a minute why I picked this setup, and for now, let's move on. Now for step 4, we need to access the trade all tab. We need to set the rarity to common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. This is useful when trying to get rid of lower tier sigils such as common to rare. Use them according to your needs, but usually I term them all on. We are ready for step 5, and this is where we actually do flush all of our unwanted stuff. Access the trade all feature by pressing it, and then the system will automatically select all of the sigils that are locked since we locked the ones that we needed a while ago. But before actually flushing all of the stuff, quickly scan the sigils being shown on the screen, and if you think you already secured your good sigils, move on. This is a precautionary step just in case you forgot to lock a certain sigil. If you are good, trade them all for vouchers. Congrats on your first flush, and you will be doing this a lot. But the process does not end here, as you can quickly reach the vouchers cap, which is 999. That is why Cygames, we need a higher cap for this one. Quickly use all of the vouchers on transmutation level 3 so we can continue the process. But before the next step, if you are into straight to the point guides, tips and tricks like this one, subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button and it will surely help me a lot. Join our Discord server as we are building an empire where we can help each other. Now on to the next step. Turn to the trade sigils menu as you will be continuing the process. However, before processing the trade all feature, you can check your newly acquired sigils here, and you can manually lock all the good ones you acquired from transmutation level 3. You can skip this step if you are doing this many times already, as you can quickly determine the good ones from the transmutation results. Now the final step in the process is continuing the flushing. After flushing the unwanted sigils again, you will notice that your vouchers are already up to 999 again, which is the cap, and it is a pain. All you need to do is repeat the steps from step 5 until you've cleared all your undesired sigils. Rinse and repeat. This will take hours and hours, especially if you have not knowingly accumulated like 3k to 5k sigils, but I find this method really useful and easy to access, and also the fastest way to clear things up. but I still have a couple of tips for you to improve the process or even prevent this from happening again. Moving on to the useful tips that I mentioned, and for tip number 1 is knowing the good and bad sigils in general. As you progress in the game, especially when reaching endgame, you will easily determine the good and the bad sigils by experience. I'm not going to dive into which are the good ones since it needs its video, but for example, resistance sigils are generally bad sigils like Sand Tomb resistance or the like. There are few useful resistance sigils like blight resistance, however, you don't want to waste your precious slots on these aside from special scenarios. If you have them as your second trade and you don't have a choice, it's totally fine. Now for tip number 2 is keeping your inventory organized regularly. This is crucial since you don't want to spend hours of flushing your unwanted sigils again, right? So make it a habit to flush your unwanted materials and sigils every 5 to 10 quest runs, and in this way, you will be preventing another inventory health crisis in the near future. Flushing your full materials. This is for the next tip, and you don't want to have any materials at max. I don't know about you, but my OCD is getting out of hand whenever I see the word max on my screen or see an item at 999. Don't worry, it is much easier to flush them compared to sigils. To do so, access Trade Treasure, skip the filter tab for now, go to the sort tab and set the criteria to amount owned. And then the order will be amount first. In this way, the system will sort your item that are in cap and you can easily lower their numbers. You will be getting a lot of vouchers again, so make sure you flush those sigils later as well. I know this is a different guide than the ones that I'm making, but I figured out this will be useful for a lot of people and I don't want you spending hours when trying to organize your inventory and items pile up very quickly before you know it. Now if you want to know the fastest way to get the best sigils in the game or know how auto farming works, these videos will help you a lot. Thank you for watching and I will see you on the next one.